doctor looked at me and said, "I need you to give me a minute alone with your son." My 6-year-old son Kyle's pediatrician started acting strange during what should have been a routine checkup. Dr. Kelly insisted I leave the room for a private developmental assessment that he'd never needed before. When I hesitated, she assured me it was new protocol and practically pushed me into the hallway. I stood right outside the door, listening. Her questions made my blood run cold. "Are you happy at home? Has anyone ever hurt you? Do mommy and daddy fight a lot?" She wasn't checking his development, she was building a CPS case against me. 2 weeks later, she demanded another private session. This time I refused to leave. Dr. Kelly looked disappointed, but pulled out a wrapped gift, an entire Spider-Man coloring book with expensive markers. While Kyle colored excitedly, she asked invasive questions about his daily schedule. "When do you wake up? When are you usually home? Does anyone else live with you?" I stepped between them. "Why do you need to know his schedule?" She stammered about building rapport and suggested she could even make house calls to be more convenient. That's when I knew something was seriously wrong. Pediatricians don't offer house calls. I switched doctors immediately and blocked her number. But 3 weeks later, she showed up at our front door holding a huge present, grinning through the screen. "I have something special for Kyle," she said, bending down to his level, "but I need to talk to him first." When I refused to let her in, her eyes filled with tears. "Please, I just need to see him one more time." Kyle was begging for the Lego set, but I saw the manic desperation in her face. I pulled out my phone to call 911. Dr. Kelly yanked the screen door so hard the lock snapped. She slapped my phone out of my hand, scooped up Kyle, and ran to her car. I chased after her screaming, but she threw him in the back seat and peeled out of our driveway. I jumped in my car and called 911 while pursuing her, giving them her license plate. She drove straight to Children's Hospital and ran inside carrying my terrified son. Security guards caught her in the lobby as she pointed frantically at a window. "That's my daughter Misty. She's dying and he's the only match. He can save her." The guards restrained her while I grabbed Kyle from her arms. She kept screaming that Kyle could save her daughter's life, like that justified stealing my child. More security arrived and formed a barrier between us. Police showed up 10 minutes later. That's when the full picture emerged. Dr. Kelly's daughter needed a bone marrow transplant. She'd been secretly testing Kyle for compatibility by having him taste test those Spider-Man markers during the appointment, collecting his DNA through his saliva without my knowledge or consent. She'd accessed his medical records multiple times without authorization, mapping his family history and blood type. The developmental assessments were her learning our schedule to find the best time to take him. The house call offer was an attempt to get him alone without hospital staff around. Detective work revealed she'd violated every medical ethics protocol imaginable. Even if Kyle had been a match, any tissue obtained through coercion would be inadmissible for transplant. Her entire scheme was both criminal and medically pointless. Dr. Kelly was arrested that day and charged with kidnapping, assault, unauthorized genetic collection, and multiple HIPAA violations. The hospital immediately suspended her and started their own investigation into how she'd accessed Kyle so freely. The preliminary hearing happened fast. The prosecutor presented the evidence: the broken screen door, the unauthorized chart access, the covert DNA collection, the kidnapping attempt. Dr. Kelly's lawyer argued she was acting under extreme emotional distress watching her daughter die. The judge wasn't sympathetic. She got 5 years probation, mandatory mental health treatment, permanent loss of her medical license, and a restraining order. Her medical career was over. 3 months later, I got a call from the hospital's transplant department. A legitimate donor from the National Registry had been found for Misty, someone who chose to be tested properly and consented to help. The little girl got her transplant through the right channels, exactly how it should have happened from the start. Kyle still panics sometimes when he sees white coats, but his therapist says he's healing remarkably well. We installed better locks, created safety protocols at his school, and he knows he's protected now. The detective told me something I'll never forget. "Your gut instincts during those appointments saved your son. You knew something was wrong and acted on it." I should have walked out after that first weird assessment, but I talked myself out of trusting my instincts because she was a doctor and I was just a worried mom. Never again.